This past March 23rd was the Periodic Paralysis Association founded the inaugural World Periodic Paralysis Day, leading an alliance of other nonprofits. So through this day together, we are finding the strength and connection while building a community of support as we navigate this journey of life with periodic paralysis. Today, our President, Cienna Ditri, and legislative advocate, James Romano, they'll be talking about World Periodic Paralysis Day and how you can change or help create the change that this community needs. So without further ado, please welcome to the stage, we have Cienna and James.
All right, so we're going to talk about World Periodic Paralysis today. World Periodic Paralysis Day today. There we go. It's March 23rd, 2026 is going to be the next one, and I'm really excited to tell you about it. So, what is World Periodic Paralysis Day? It's a global movement for awareness and action. So you can join us in celebrating World Periodic Paralysis Day on March 23rd of this next year. The whole idea is to dedicate this day to connecting the whole periodic paralysis community by bringing patients, caregivers, advocates together to raise awareness, share experiences, inspire hope, and create change. Because I think we all know that living with periodic paralysis can be isolating, but we're all over the world, and this day is about bringing us together to create this change together. So who is part of World Periodic Paralysis Day? All of us. We're all part of World Periodic Paralysis Day. It's founded by the PPA and established by a coalition of nonprofits, patients, caregivers, industry professionals, and advocates. It shines a spotlight on the challenges of living with periodic paralysis that we all know and the urgent need for improved diagnosis, treatment, and care. It's by all of us, for all of us. So, what are we aiming to do with World Periodic Paralysis Day? Our goal is to reduce the delays in diagnosis because everybody in this room knows how long it took you to get diagnosed. We're trying to increase the public and medical knowledge of periodic paralysis and foster a supportive and united global community of periodic paralysis. This past March 23rd was the first time we ever united the entire global community to celebrate something like this. So it's been a very exciting year for us. And our hope is that by amplifying these patient voices and sharing stories, we can break the silence, reduce the stigma, and inspire progress in periodic paralysis. So, what did we do this year? This year we launched our website. You can see the logo there. It's pretty cool. We had virtual meetups thanks to Ralph. We sent t-shirts around the world. We lit up the Chicago skyline. It's kind of hard to see there, but it's kind of blue and turquoise and purpley. It was pretty cool. We had a press release that was shared thousands of times, all about World Periodic Paralysis and our day. We launched our legislative advocacy program. We had power partners, so some of you got involved sharing about it too. And then we joined the Chronic Disease Alliance, and I spoke at the Chronic Disease Policy Forum all about World Periodic Paralysis Day. So we had a pretty big inaugural year, you could say. So what are we doing this next year? Well, we're going to do everything we did last year and more. So we're going to send more t-shirts around the world. We're going to create more beacons of hope. We're going to get proclamations. We're going to have more virtual meetups, press releases, and we're going to create what you want to see. Because this day isn't about my ideas, it's about our ideas. And I really wanted to thank Xeris for their part in that. What you saw this past year was they had a summit, and they brought a bunch of leaders from the periodic paralysis community together in Chicago. And they gave me the opportunity to talk to everybody and figure out what we wanted World Periodic Paralysis Day to look like. And that's how we got the colors for the day. That's how we figured out what the messaging was and what our goals were. So it's really a day for all of us. So how can you get involved? You can become a power partner. Power partners help educate their communities, you share the resources, and you encourage others to join the movement too. You can wear your t-shirt. They're designed to inspire hope and unity, and they're perfect for the entire family. They come in all sizes. You can participate. You can join the exciting lineup of virtual activities on World Periodic Paralysis Day. by organizations worldwide. You can share your story and get social. You can reach out to local media. You can post on social media. You can share the host of graphics on the website. You can share your story on the website. It puts a cute little pin on a map, and so you can see all the little dots, and that's all the people with periodic paralysis to share their story. And then together we're raising that hope and awareness. So you can also donate, help Dr. Cannon out, help us make this day even bigger, and together we'll make a huge difference. So, how can you be part of creating the change this community needs? Today we're going to talk about state and local World Periodic Paralysis Day proclamations. So we believe global awareness begins with local action here at the PPA, and that you play a vital role in elevating periodic paralysis awareness leading up to World Periodic Paralysis Day. So we're going to work together with our community to lead this advocacy effort in your state and community by securing these proclamations. And now I'm going to hand it over.
Hi again. I'm going to be talking to you about how we can all work together to really raise the awareness for World Periodic Paralysis Day. I'm hoping on March 23rd, 2026, that at least Sienna and hopefully maybe some more people will be in Washington. I'd love to have the t-shirts and go meet with members of Congress and take pictures, presenting them the t-shirt, and that's something we can talk about. I've been working, Sienna talked about how we were with, how she had joined the Chronic Disease Alliance and participated on Chronic Disease Day, which was great. And I'll show you what they've done and how we can emulate some of that. But we're really going to be talking about, here we go. So we're going to talk about how we can really work and raise awareness on the different levels of government. I was talking with my friend who's the civics teacher. You know, this is federalism at its best. There's different levels of government. We start with, that's one thing in the United States. When you're looking to reform something, you're adding another layer of government to something. So we have local government, state government, and federal government, and how we can really engage with each of those to really raise awareness for primary periodic paralysis. It's going to be a great year. So, working with your local government / obtaining proclamations. So obviously you have county commissioners, boards of supervisors, or you have a mayor. I put a little, so what I have over there is the city of that's the city of Philadelphia's proclamation. So every city you can ask for a proclamation from the mayor, big city or small city. And probably on their website, this is real easy, I Googled it, popped it up there, is an application for a proclamation from the mayor. Obviously, we are going to have to work with you and provide you some draft language to go into that, and that's something we probably want to get out around the first of the year. A lot of these, they need to be in 60 to 90 days prior to when you want it. So if you want it on March 20, you can't be calling March 22nd for something on March 23rd is all I'm going to try to say. So it's funny because my county, we have where I live a board of supervisors, county supervisors, and that and the one for the district that I live in happens to be my wife's boss. She's a teacher. She's a principal, and she's also the county commissioner. So my wife was like, my husband's looking to get a proclamation for one of his groups that he works with. How would he go about doing that? And, you know, she came back with, why are you bothering me? No, she said, she said, okay, email my staff person and he'll get you all the information, which I did. But you're gonna probably have to contact the government office and ask how that is, or check online, like I said. But that's something that we can help you with. But it's a lot that you can just probably Google or go to the websites, but help you fill out those things. So the picture there is at like a town council or for Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month, and which is March, same month. And so at some of the meetings, they'll actually present you with the proclamation. So it's something to really engage with your local supervisor, in your local governments. The mayor might invite you to their office to take a picture with the proclamation, after which probably we want them sent to the to the PPA office, or at least get a copy of it for the PPA office so we can keep track of that. But it could be something that you then hang in your house, or if you have a support group, something that you guys keep, and you can do this every year. So, but like I said, like bleeding, like I do some work with the South Carolina bleeding disorders community, and they tell those guys to go into every mayor's office, every county commissioner to get these proclamations, and it's a big deal, and a lot of the kids come out and they take pictures. Looks great on their college applications, probably, that they've engaged on for their disorder community. So that's very important. So that's from a local government perspective. You could also light things up in your cities. As Santa told you, they lit up Chicago. One of the groups that I work with, again, I told you about Good Days. They have the Chronic Disease Day. They've lit up the bridges in Boston. You can't really, orange is their color. Like, I guess orange is the new black. But they lit up the bridges in Boston, yellow. They, some big high rises in Atlanta, they lit up yellow. They light up a lot of things across the country. That is Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta that they lit up orange. Obviously, you'd want to check into some of the landmarks in your area to see what can get lit up. We would encourage you to do that. And then again, it's really just following the paperwork. And then on that day, they'll like, oh yeah, great. But there you go, you look and it's the color. So it's very important. So that's again something that you could look into in your local area. Somebody came up to me and said, we have a barn that we can light up in my small town. I'm like, light it up and get in front of it and get a picture. So that the most important thing is that you get pictures of it and then put that out on social media. Social media can be a dirty word, it can be a great word. The more you use social media to promote disease awareness, that's fantastic. Get your family members, get the community, post that picture if you have something lit up, because that's going to be very important. And then if they see this throughout the country, someday I'd love to see from like sea to shining sea, there's like something in every state lit up with our colors. That would be really fantastic. But it's up to us to all work together to do that. I'm going to look in Fredericksburg, Virginia, where I can have that, what I can have lit up. I've done that from other groups. I'm going to keep pushing it. We have an apothecary that they have a statue of that they light up. So I'm going to get that lit up too. So we're going to, but like I call the mayor's office in Fredericksburg and I say, what can we possibly do, and go from there. I actually live in the county next to it. So, but that's the biggest city near me. So that's what I'm going to work on. Governor's proclamations. I'm sorry, I cut out, like the Virginia governor has again, it's online. Every governor has one. And you can get the governor to issue a proclamation for World Periodic Paralysis Day. We were very lucky. The governor of Virginia did it in a couple, and they decided a couple of weeks later to bring us in to take a picture with it, which was really nice. So that they got to actually do that in your state capital. So again, it's pretty easy. In South Carolina, where like I said, where I do a lot of work, Governor, my boss Sue Martin puts in for it, and every year Governor McMaster does it. And then when we have our advocacy day there, in the first week of March, we usually meet with the lieutenant governor, who reads the proclamation and always meets with us and takes pictures, and so that's something that you also can do. But the important thing is that you go up, again, they like 60 to 90 days. So you're going to have to see what your individual state says. You can't wait to the day before. So maybe even some, they say 30 days, but again, it's usually, if you go onto the governor's website and, do a quick Google, a search on the site saying proclamations or letters from the governor, then that's where it'll pop up. And again, we'll be here to field any questions that you have at that time. State legislatures can do proclamations. So, and that is, it's very interesting. That's why I said, get to know who your state representative is and your state senator. Here's a great, I engineered this on a plane ride. So Good Days decided to have a chronic disease day event in Hawaii, which I'm telling you, it's tough work. So we had the Aloha Tower lit up orange, and we were in the tower having a reception. And this is Senator Moriwaki with Good Days founder, President Clorinda Wally. And what we asked her, this was her district, we asked her to come just speak and take pictures. And what she did was awesome. She did a proclamation for Chronic Disease Day in the Senate 2 days before. And then she had all the senators sign it. So that is something that if you get to know your state rep or state senator and you ask them to do a proclamation for World Periodic Paralysis Day, that they can get it done and they might get it signed and this, and it's something for you to keep or it's something to send to the PPA office, but it was great. I didn't ask her to do that. She's like, oh, this is great, you're having this event in my district, I'm coming. And it's something that you can do. One of the things that I know I want to do is work to see if we can get some, like we have with Congressman Frost, some messages for World Periodic Paralysis Day from some governors, and see then put it on our website. And again, moving it out through social media. But again, this is something that you can do by learning who your state representatives and state senators are, and then asking them to, and then meet with them. Obviously, we can help you set the meeting. Some people are friends with state representatives, some are friends, and so you might have those connections, and you can use it to promote Periodic Paralysis Day in March. Most state legislatures, just to let you know, a good bit of them usually meet January to March, or April or May. So the first part of the year when the day is actually a great day, a great time to start engaging them, and it's usually they're finishing up or they're starting and they're looking for things to do on their way out of session. So that's something that, if you're in Texas though, they only meet every other year, so it must be nice, but it drives advocates like me crazy. So we have our federal resolution. I have the first couple of things. We can get you that language if you're, and you can try for the state legislation. We're going to get introductions in each House of Congress for our federal resolution honoring World Periodic Paralysis Day. As I said, we're working with Haley Stevens in Michigan and Ken Calvert out in California and Elise Slotkin in the Senate. But it's important to know that on a federal basis, it'll get introduced and we'll ask you to get your congressman to co-sponsor it. And we're aiming for early January, so we have 3 months to really build it up, and then hopefully come to DC on that day, meet with members, take pictures, have maybe a briefing about it, and and then hopefully some of you can join us while we're there. Again, hopefully we're going to get messages that we can place on the website, social media from members, and that's a way. And then you need to like all that. You need to share it on your social media so that we can keep raising the awareness, pushing it out there, and hopefully make it go viral. You never know. So those are some of the ideas on how you can get involved to using the different layers of government to help you raise awareness. So I did leave my email and my phone number if you guys have any questions, or obviously you can email Sienna and she'll send them to me. But do you guys have any questions?
I think real quick too, we could talk about why this matters, why doing this matters, why are you talking to these people? And it's not only to raise awareness so that people who don't have periodic paralysis know what this is, and to educate doctors. But on the federal level, when we're trying to get funding for Dr. Cannon, it's so important that these representatives know what it is. So they're all behind us when we're trying to get more money for him to get towards his cure, or the other researchers like Dr. Har, or whatever it may be. Like now we've been going to a few offices, and in the beginning we had to tell them every single time all the facts about periodic paralysis. That was great. But now we roll in there and we don't have to tell them anymore because they know what periodic paralysis is. Their staffers know what periodic paralysis is. And that's huge for us, you know? Like, where do you ever go where somebody knows what periodic paralysis is? So,
the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So they're not going to come find us. We're going to have to keep asking them to devote, increases at NIH to research for primary periodic paralysis. We're going to have to, it's going to be them talking, because of you guys. So the more awareness that we raise and that we're in there and oh yeah, I remember those guys, they all remember Cienna. So that's the great thing. I'm telling you, we were entering one of the building and these 3 women came up to us in wheelchairs and had to have their picture taken. Now with Cienna, they're like, okay, sir, here's my, and I keep thinking, we're late. We're going to be late for our meeting. But no, it was more important. It was great. And then several of the congressional staffers started following Cienna on social media. Again, then if they see what we're doing and we go in to talk to them, and oh yeah, my boss helped you the other week. It makes it so much easier. Now, some of them will tell us no. You're not going to get 100%. But they want to make their constituents happy in lots of ways. So putting a message together, working with families, that's something that they're going to want to help with. And so you're instrumental in that. I can't go to certain places and ask, or I can do that, but I don't know if they'll listen to me a lot. If you ask a person for it, 9 times out of 10. Just using Congressman Frost as an example, Cienna met him at an influencers conference. And we thought, we're going to be here. Oh, yeah, let me know. Well, the staff put up a pretty good challenge after challenge after challenge. We finally got the video. We were hoping to have him in person. Had we probably had more constituents involved, we could have gotten probably him in person. But the good news is we have a relationship with his office. Hopefully next year we give him a T-shirt, we get pictures, and we start working with them. And then certain day he'll be on the appropriations committee and he'll say, yeah, I'm a champion for the PPA. So anyway, that's why your role is key. So sorry.
No, it was great.
All right, you open for some questions? So we have some from the app. It says, I'm mostly interested in advocacy for more research into permanent muscle weakness or definitive mitigations. So does this feed into that, I guess, is the underlying question, or how does that feed into it?
How does it feeds into it? So if the person who wrote that comes back and wants to meet with their member of Congress to talk about their story, that's important. If they engage their state representative and state senator about some kind of proclamation, that helps move that forward. So people are talking about the disorder. And then we ask the congressperson to help us support an increase in NIH funding that then we go meet with the specific institute, which is the neuromuscular skeleton institute there, and then start working on that. Yeah, absolutely. That fits right in.
Yeah,
Right.
and you can email info@periodicparalysis.org to get involved, and then we can connect you with them. But it definitely, Dane, I think, well, it was you and Dane shared about our legislative agenda, and that fits right in there. So we'd love to work together.
Perfect. And so if people who are either online or in this room want to get involved, they would email who?
Info@periodicparalysis.org, and 10 of you have already found it this morning, so that's amazing.
Okay, very good. How can smaller advocacy groups like college clubs support World Periodic Paralysis Day?
That's perfect.
Yeah.
They can try to get something lit up on their college campus. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, or, we can talk about periodic paralysis, educate, we can do like a Zoom call together for your club, we can work together.
Yes.
Yeah, there's so many ways. Info@periodicparalysis.org is your best friend. And let us know.
Okay, one asks, how can I raise awareness in my workplace? Is there any way to appropriately do that?
Yes. I would think that you could work with your HR department about putting together a table on that day, and we get brochures and or maybe sign a petition to have their for the congressperson in that area or several congresspeople in that area to sign the congressional resolution.
On the World Periodic Paralysis Day website, there's plenty of print-offs that you could bring in too, that you could share at work. You could put on that table. You could pass out. You could all wear the colors for World Periodic Paralysis Day, take a picture together, post it on social media, share it, use the hashtags. Tons of ways to get involved.
Okay, fantastic. Someone asked, can we start a branch here in Europe?
World Periodic Paralysis Day is all over the world, so of course you can. We're going to celebrate it everywhere. So I think, yeah, for sure. Again, you can email info@periodicparalysis.org, and we can work together to figure out something in your local area or with your local awareness organization. As we said, it was put together by an alliance, so it's the day we founded, but the PPI is part of it, the Muscular Dystrophy Association, the American Association of Neuromuscular and Electrodiagnostic Medicine, there we go, is part of it. So we'd love to have more friends to put on that list too.
I would recommend if you're in Europe, contact your member of parliament if you're and start talking about how they can get recognized in that country. I'm thinking in Western Europe, they all have democracies where there's a parliament of some kind of, and so they should, Chamber of Deputies or such, and they could, I would start reaching out to that person that you vote for and go from there.
Cienna brings up an interesting point. Oh, we've got a question. I'll come back to that one.
In regards to proclamations, where would you start, at the city level or governor, state level, or both at the same time?
I would start with both at the same time. I make this sound like it's so easy, but if you go online and I would have to look about what the Florida one is, but they're under the governor's offices, so you can fill that out. We can give you the federal language and try to. I wouldn't know how many patients are in
Florida,
yeah. But we could try to, I wouldn't know how to start extrapolating that number. But other than that, trying to make it, you could actually put some of your story into the proclamation and then get the governor to, they do have the guidelines too, so you just have to follow what the guidelines say.
Okay.
If they're thinking about working on something like that, should they be emailing us to get
sure,
in contact with you as well?
And then we could just provide them
So that we don't have like 4 people from Florida trying to get the same thing with their governor. We can coordinate and do it together. And then you can all go take a picture together and see each other, and it'll be super fun.
I've done one with another group for Governor DeWine in Ohio to get it. But you actually have to be in that state. So I couldn't fill it out, but somebody there in Ohio can fill it out. And so that's the important thing. You have to have a local address in the state to work with. So that's.
And it seems like a big part of it is the coordination and getting credit for it. So if we can put it through a central hub, that's always better, because we want the activity, but we also want to be able to share the volume of the activity, right?
And
Exactly.
a great part of it is if there's so many people in a state, let's just say there's 5 people in Florida, they might want to bring you into Tallahassee. Now, I know from Jacksonville or from Orlando or from Miami, getting to Tallahassee is not easy. But from, Lakewood or Cincinnati to Columbus is a little easier. But it's something that could happen, and it's something that we can then, hopefully Cienna could come in for, to take pictures with the governor, handing it. The photo op, what I've experienced in my 30 years of doing this, the more public relations you make over these, that it sends out a message of that we're willing to work hard, we're well connected. That impresses your sponsors and your donors. And they're like, okay, we know we can work with them on advocacy issues, or if something comes up that affects a treatment or getting a future treatment, they're going to want to work with us. And sometimes that leads to more advocacy dollars into the association. So that's another. I don't want to. I hate to make it sound dollars and cents, but putting on these meetings and such isn't free. So I mean, like if they look, this is an association, the Periodic Paralysis Association gets stuff done. They get then you've built up a lot of credibility to the people who are sitting out there, and when they say, oh, we're going to give them additional dollars to advocate with, so they can plan advocacy days in Capitol Hill, they can plan state trips and such, because we know they're getting stuff done, because we see it on the social media, on their website. They have the relationships with the legislators. That's a very valuable commodity to, I hate to make it sound, I hate to boil it down to dollars and cents, but it helps them build the advocacy dollars for the association. And that's important, because then we'll get each and every one of you to use that funding to get you guys to DC to advocate there.
And I think in periodic paralysis, so often we can all feel isolated when we're at home. There's your next door neighbor doesn't have it, someone in your town doesn't have it. But on World Periodic Paralysis Day, each of us working together can do this. We can make a really big splash together. If you're doing it in your city and you're doing it in your city and they're seeing this pop up all over the place, think about how many people who are going to know what periodic paralysis is after that. A lot.
So kind of a follow-up question to that, and maybe a little bit in the weeds, but if you think about it as kind of like a two-stage campaign, right? It's like the ultimate goal is we want research dollars to help find a cure or some way to make things better. And then before that is we may need awareness dollars, right? Or advocacy dollars to help that happen. So that's kind of the two stages. So my memory from yesterday is that we don't think periodic paralysis itself might be a line item, but instead it might go to a bigger bucket of funding. Is that correct? And at the national level? So
the way it usually works is they're never going to say $100 million for NIH for this disease. What they're going to make is they're going to say, okay, we're increasing the NIH budget by a certain amount, and then that gets filtered down to each of the institutes and offices there. What then our job is to then have been met with the institute that would do the research for primary periodic paralysis. Meet with them and say, we want increased, obviously we want some of this money to go to periodic paralysis. What they're going to say is, okay, we'll do an R01 grant request out for initial research. And then the docs are going to have to then submit requests for funding and then it's reviewed. It's a peer-reviewed process. And then, they could get additional funding. It's not easy. Obviously, it's not an easy process, and it is going to take some time. But that's how the process works, and that's the good thing. And then, again, if we come up with, we have a list of people who haven't been funded, because their idea was bad, because you didn't have any funding. Then you take that to Congress. Congress is like, yeah, of course we want to put more funding in there. We want to make sure. We're talking about 50 billion of your dollars. It's all of our dollars. It's 50 billion. That's just for NIH. We could try to get periodic paralysis put on what is called the DoD research list and get Department of Defense funding for research. Again, if you do get that on there on a list of the Department of Defense, you have to, if 6 to 9 months or something goes by, and you haven't had a researcher apply for funding, they'll take the disease off. So we have to know that there are researchers willing to to do that before we go through that process. The Senate usually makes the list of the DoD covered diseases. So that's something that we can be discussing in the future.
Yeah, and the good thing about the PPA is we work with the researchers and with our advocates, so we can keep them in line working together. And most of these offices we meet with already know who Dr. Cannon is. They know about his work because we've educated them. They know about Dr. Hart. We talk about anesthesia every day we're at Capitol Hill. These are things they're learning about. So when we get to that point, they know why it's so important for us to have these dollars and what a difference it's going to make in each of your lives.
Super good. Zooming out a little bit, a great question. Can family members in other states also help with this as well, even if they don't have periodic paralysis themselves?
Absolutely. So as I said, I started out in hemophilia. I didn't have it, but I had family members who had it. And again, it doesn't matter if it's something you're passionate about with a family member, absolutely have the family member in that state help out. There's nothing to stop anybody from helping the community.
Info at periodicparalysis.org.
All right, and a more generalized, perhaps, advocacy question. How can I help advocate for better access in the community or my apartment complex? This person says, my apartment complex doesn't have handicapped parking.
Oh,
and
hey,
is this
so I just
required
got an
by law?
apartment about a year ago. It's my very first apartment. I'm very proud of her. She's gorgeous. But it wasn't accessible. It wasn't accessible at all. I worked with a real estate agent to find the apartment, and we found one that we thought was going to be easy to make accessible. So we worked with my landlord. He's a really nice guy. I told him what I needed. I advocated for my needs. We were very kind about it and informative, and my bathroom has a ramp to it inside my apartment now. And it's totally accessible for me. So it's advocating for yourself, kind of like we were talking about yesterday during the panels, and coming in with that information in a calm, collected, organized manner and talking to them, I think, if that helps. But if it's an apartment complex over a certain size, there's also federal regulations and stuff like
Yeah, I would
that
have
as
to
well
double
to
check,
protect
yeah.
you. So like,
So you may want to talk with like their
Yeah.
city council member or something like that would, for that area, if they need like a parking spot or something, that's something the city or the area would do. So that's, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and in the US, we have the ADA and things like that that
Yeah.
will help inform that. All right, last question, gang. When will the next periodic paralysis conference be? Will it be in Orlando? And a big smiley face.
Wow, that's such a great question. Well, we're just finishing this one up right now, so I'll let you know after I sleep for like 12 hours. But it's been great, guys, and I can't thank you enough for coming to Orlando, Florida. We have been putting them on every other year in Orlando, Florida. So that's kind of our game plan right now, but I don't get to make decisions as president of the Periodic Paralysis Association. I work with my board and we vote on it together. So yeah, follow for more updates, subscribe to emails, and stay tuned. Is that a good answer, Mason?
I think
it's
that's a great answer. All right, thanks, Jim and Sienna.